Alright, the hat is joined with brim top and bottom. Here's the tail for this edge of the hat in case I need to open this up to put the cable in. I don't know until I get to the end. Hopefully I'll be able to do it up at this edge where it will be less visible, in which case I'll just tie this off. But it's a contingency. So now I want to start the decrease from 80 down to 60 stitches, and I want to make a place to put a drawstring. Because this is cotton, it could stretch out, especially if it's hot or if it gets wet. You don't want it to blow off, so I wanted to have a way to reinforce it in case of stretching. So the first thing to do is drop stitch marker on here. And these are size 10 needles. I went up a needle size, or 2 needle sizes. And now I want to purl this so that the bumps are on the front. So I purl 2, and now purl 2 together because I need to get 20 stitches out of this by the time I get back around to the beginning. So purl 2 and purl 2 together. Purl 2, purl 2 together. Do that all the way back around to the beginning. Purl 2, purl 2 together. Now I want to turn the work and knit back. This way I got a little opening for the drawstring to go through. And because I purl combination style, I knit through the back loop on this row. When I'm always knitting, I would knit through the front loop. But when the row after a purl row, the knitting comes up on the back loop when you turn your work. Now I'm at the end of the row of knitting, and I want to turn it again. And purl back. I finished the reverse stockinette 3 rows for the drawstring. Now I need to join it to the bottom again to make it into a little tube. Now here's the purl bumps from where I knit the top and bottom of the brim together, and that's what I'm going to use to join this to itself. But remember how I did a decrease where I purled 2 and then I purled 2 together? Here's a purl 2 and that's purl 2 together. So instead of picking up, so I have 1 column of stitches here, but I had 2 down here. So for every 3 stitches I pick up, I have to skip 1. So I'm going to pick up 3, skip 1, pick up 3, skip 1, all the way around. I want to show you an alternative way to pick up stitches for these 3 needle connections. Here's the way I do it with a DPN. Picked up 3, skip 1, pick up 3, skip 1, pick up 3, skip 1, but it starts to get a little bit of tension on the needle. I don't want to break this little number 2 needle, so I'm just going to do that many and then just stop and pick up some more as I work my way around. So just the same way I did the brims. This happens 3 times in this hat pattern, so it's kind of good practice for learning a 3 needle pickup. So you knit together. It's also good practice for learning which leg of the stitch is correct. And then the last one I knit the front of the front stitch and the back of the back stitch. But now I'm knitting the back of the front stitch and the front of the back stitch. You just have to learn to read your knitting. Because I purled this last row, that puts my working leg in the back. And the way I picked up the purl stitches, it puts the working leg in the front. So I just knit the piece of yarn that's leaning to the right. You can tell by feel if you're pulling on the right leg of the stitch after you've been doing it for a while. I use number spreadsheets for my patterns because I like to have every row so I can check off when I start the row and when I finish the row. So if I stop in the middle and this is checked and I stop halfway through, I can tell that I need to finish this row and check the end. I haven't found a way to do checklists in Google Drive or any other way that's easy to put on my blog. But if you email me, I can email you the number spreadsheet and it'll synchronize between your Mac and your iPad so that you can use this nice checklist format. I finished that row, so now I will need to start the lace stitches. I adapted this from a YouTube video by Pleasant Seas, and there's a link in my pattern to her video if you want to watch every stitch of this pattern. She does it for you, but I modified it a little bit to just do 2 repeats. So I'll start showing you how it works at the beginning. I need my end of round marker. And now I knit 5. Purl 2 together. And I'm going to purl the correct way, the way that everybody purls, because there aren't very many purls in this pattern. And it just makes it easy on the next row if I don't have to remember that 1 stitch out of 20 is twisted. So I'm following the pattern, which was to knit 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, purl 2 together, knit 2, yarn over, knit 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. And now I'm going to place a marker so I can keep my repeats straight, and I can check in case I messed up. And I want to make sure I have 20 stitches between the markers all the time. Every time I purl 2, there should be a corresponding yarn over to make the stitch count stay consistent. And now I'm going to do this again and place another marker and keep going. At the end of that pattern row, I slip this stitch marker on the row marker and knit a whole next row. And every other row in the lace pattern is a knit row. That's the purl 2 together that gets knit and on along around. Here's the yarn over, and I have seen patterns where it says to knit yarn overs through the back. I guess that makes it tighter, but this pattern you want that hole. That's kind of the whole point. So knit the yarn overs through the front loop. But be careful, because if those holes are too big, when you wear the hat, they'll stretch out and people will point to your hat and say, oh, your hat's coming apart. I've come to the end of the lace section of the hat, and I have this much yarn left. So I'm going to start a new ball of yarn at the turn of the hat. But first I'm going to put in a larger cable and try the hat on and make sure that the lace part came out the size I meant for it to. I'm going to just take off the needle and put on a joiner. And then a long cable. If you try on the hat with a short cable, and all your stitches pull off of the needle, you will be sorry. So since I have a long cable, it's a lot easier to just go ahead and put one in. Now it can stretch nice and big. So what I want to do is find out if this is going to be the right size. Since this is a new kind of yarn and a new needle size, I'm not certain. Well, I made a mistake and let the end of the cable pull all the way through these stitches. Learning experience. The solution is to put the small needle out of the set on the end of the cable and use that smallest needle to pick the stitches up again. Problem averted.